So Clean Nepal started as a campaign. So right now we are a registered organization since 2014 as a non-profit, as an NGO. But the idea was very simple idea. We didn't. It was started by Neelam Pradhananga. We'll see a short video of her as well,
Okay.
where she tells her story and why we started it all. So I think it was back in 2007 or somewhere around then, when she was just doing her master's, or I think she was doing her PhD, and she came back to Nepal. She's from a town called Bhaktapur. Have you been there yet?
No.
It's a very nice old city, where they didn't have electricity back then, because we didn't have electricity at all. So she used to study in this, we call it tuki. Basically, it's a small fire. Not because it's just that we didn't have the electricity, but she was a very hardworking person. And when she came back from Sydney, so on her way from airport to Bhaktapur, which is then about an hour road, and she just saw all the what do you call it, waste just everywhere. And she thought, maybe, okay, when I come back, I'll do something about this. And the whole idea came from there. And we were supposed to do only a cleanup, because she was from Sydney, she was from Australia, and we thought we'll just do a campaign. We did a cleanup, and soon we realized cleanup doesn't actually help, because over here you need a system. People throw it because there is no place to throw, or there's no collection system or no waste management system. So either way, we did the first cleanup. It was very successful in a more of a campaigning purpose. It was good. So we've been doing this since 2013. So this year marks the 5th year of cleanup. But what happened was, last year, all our stakeholders started taking the ownership of cleanup. So before 3rd or 4th year, we had to take the initiative. We had to facilitate the cleanup. We had to actually call everyone, you should do a cleanup. So what we did was, our idea was, on September, this was 3rd Saturday of September, we do a nationwide cleanup. We also call it World Cleanup Day. I think it was started in Australia back 10-15 years ago. So that's what she wanted to do, just a cleanup once a year, and we used to facilitate that. So by used to, why I'm saying used to, because in recent years what happened was, stakeholders started on every World Cleanup Day, we didn't have to push them. They started cleaning their own house. They started celebrating the cleanup day, so which was very good for us. Our goal was achieved. So from last year, what we started doing is we transitioning between from cleanup to competition. So this year, what we have is nationwide script competition. Now, what we're doing is we are going to organize a script competition. So because since in Nepal, a lot of people may not have phones or may not know how to make a video. So what they can do is make a script, a less than a minute script, on the issue of littering, anything related to littering. And once they send the script from all over the Nepal, we choose, let's say, 3 to 5, and then we make that video on behalf of them. And then once we make that, what we'll do is we'll start promoting the video. We'll promote it in the cinema halls. So that's the competition right now.
Great.
Yeah.
I saw that you're doing an app as well.
Yeah, I'll come to that as well. Before that, on the history, let me just shortly show you a video. This is about Neelam, and in Nepal, there's to achieve something, if you're a woman and a man, there's a vast difference, it seems, and there was more struggle for a year or two, which I tried to highlight her story because she did a lot. There was a lot of contribution from her side. And what she had to do was she had to quit a job at the council. So she used to work as, I don't know what supposed to, but she used to work at a government job at a council. So she quit everything. She came here. She stayed here for 2 years during earthquake time. And we started as Right. So we used to stay, rain, whatever it is, we used to stay at this place because we used to steal internet from the uncles down there. That's the only place we could find the internet service. So every hour we are here. So that's how we started it. And I actually my background is not in development field, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to make change, and I wanted to do it in a more of an ethical way, and that's what I found Neelam to be. And she really wanted to make a difference, and run an organization where you're accountable and you actually know what's happening.
Yeah.
So that was the struggle she had to go through to bring that system within the organization. And
yeah, it's really interesting what she was saying about finding the root cause for these problems, and Gemma's been doing a lot of research into where all of this waste is coming from exactly, and what has your research shown, like, is all of this waste coming from households and institutes? Do you think there's much waste that's actually maybe not even coming from Nepal but perhaps being exported from different countries?
Exported, probably right now, probably not in Nepal, at least not in cities in Kathmandu. Not that we have heard of any. You mean like export from like what China does, like with the export?
Yeah, similar to, because I know the US used to export lots of their plastics to China for incineration, and I think Thailand and India take a lot of waste from the US and from other Western countries to deal with, but Nepal doesn't?
I don't think so, because Nepal is in a very big mess right now. Everything is contextual when it comes to waste, whether you are in Kathmandu, whether you're in a village, whether you are in a place, different city. So the problem is a bit different. For Kathmandu, it's much more complex. So we've been working in Kathmandu for since 2014, let's say, but it's been very hard to crack. Like, what's the solution here? They started piloting, they started this, they started that. It hasn't worked so far. But in other places, we work at Ilam. Ilam is further away, east side of Nepal. We work at Bharatpur, which is Chitwan. It's more of a touristy place, but we work toward more of not a touristy place, but more of a residential place. So we've been working there. Other states, we're trying to work in other different cities as well. But yeah, that was Neelam's story. So we still do the cleanup. We have few programs that we conduct that we think may bring change in future. But having said that, we mostly work in cities where there's a chance of where there's a chance where you can transport the waste, and where there's infrastructure. In places like mountain villages, it's all around the world. It's always burn and bury solution. There is none right now, or just the use of more of local materials. That would be really nice. But in Nepal, it's not the case. We have noodle packaging that's still being shipped there. It's the cheapest of all, and people just eat that noodle. They just throw that noodles. And we do have a big issue, but issue in villages, but there's not much can be done right now. And the issue is not that much bigger like in cities. So coming to cities, right now, Clean Nepal is conducting few projects. One of the project is Zero Waste at School. I'll just show the camera. So this is something which is very close to our heart. We as a team, after working 3-4 years, do get a little bit frustrated because you don't see the change. You've been working so hard for 3-4 years. You go out there in the street, still there. the mindset hasn't changed. The government mindset, they're working on it, but it's not there yet. And I think it takes another 10-15 years. And we do get frustrated sometimes, but I think this program is designed for us because when we go to school, you can see the changes in like day 2. So what we have done is we have created a module, more like a course book, We go to school for a year, and we deliver this toolkit from school, from students to teachers to staff. And the idea is, after a year, the goal is to have all the waste stored in one place so that they can sell that waste. That's the idea. Because most of the waste are books, and it's sellable, it's recyclable. We use the term recyclable, but to staff of the school we say it's sellable. You can actually generate income out of it. So that's what we're trying to do. We did 1 year of pilot project. It went good. Because of limited fund, we couldn't give them a lot of infrastructure, because you need a storage system, you need dustbin, you need that. So we just did testing only, and testing went good. We had some good examples. For example, we did similar course to a British school, which is a more of expat school, very rich kids, and we did also in a government school as well. So changes was the same. And expat school, this fella, the student, I think his father was an industrialist, and she made her recycle. She made her recycle the raw material, or the waste, so which was good. And on the government field, what they did was, with this one student, she started using these kind of pen. It's an ink pen where you pour the ink, and this is because you don't have to throw it like the other one. So because of that, I also bought this for everyone over here.
That's great.
We've been using that as well, much as possible, especially to sign certificate and all that. So it's good.
So when you were doing those cleanups before, and you were saying that there's no system in place, so where did you put all that waste? What happened to that waste?
So with waste in Kathmandu, it has to, let's go toward behavior as well. So since I think now it's 103, 104 years, what we used to do is, from the house, we used to throw the waste, and we call kuchikas. So those brooms, they would come in the morning and just sweep it and just throw it in the river. That was the general practice. And I think the institute was opened about 103 years ago, especially related to waste management by the government. And that habit has been there since then. And then in 1990s, I think it was about 30 years ago, the plastic was introduced, and we still started doing the same thing, throwing our waste in the river. And still you can see, if you go to the river, if you see that in the video, you can see layer of plastics. And we did, one of the things we used to do was plant trees where people normally throw waste. And when we were digging the ground to plant trees, I think we did it, I don't know how many feet, 2 feet, but all we could dig was plastic. And you can't plant trees there. All you could see is plastic, boots, carpet, all kind of waste were down there. But recently things have changed. There's an organization called JICA from Japan. What they did is they created temporary landfill. This is 23 kilometers away from Kathmandu. So nowadays all our waste goes there. And it wasn't meant permanent. I think it's been, from memory, it's 8 to 12 years it's been there. I think at least 8 years. And it was supposed to be only for 2 years. So it's off capacity. Right now they're creating another landfill.
I might just answer a question for that. It's kind of two questions in one. First, I understand there's the waste management is left up to the municipalities, and there's a bidding system between private companies, NGOs and stuff. So there's that. And then I was also wondering, because plastics is a $4 trillion industry, but your municipalities are under-resourced. So I was wondering if you would ever push for these private companies who are creating this plastic, say Coca-Cola, Nestle, Shell, BP, if you would push for them to fund the management of the plastics, because it seems like they create the plastics and then they get the profit from you as a consumer, but then it's left up to the consumer to deal with the plastic. And it just seems like it's very under-resourced.
Yeah, it is under-resourced. Right now what's happening is, it's been a very long, what we're trying to do is we're trying to privatize the waste what do you call authority. So right now, instead of government, they're trying to hand it over to a private organization, but the transition hasn't happened. So there's this company called Nepal. So they were supposed to come 2 years ago. So instead of government, Nepal was supposed to have all authority when it comes to waste. So right now, most of our program also are waiting on who's going to take the authority on waste. We'll talk about the program as well. In Nepal context, right now, everything is taken to landfill. They're making a separate landfill, but again, that landfill is one big, huge mountain or hill, and there's a river on site. So it doesn't make sense to throw all your waste there, and it would be great if we could just segregate waste, and that's not happening as well. So a few of the things what Clear Nepal tried to do is we go to community, and we don't do awareness first. What we do is we see if the infrastructure is there, everything is there, so that people can actually segregate the waste. After we install that, or we help to install that, then we do awareness program. So we have done that in a few communities, but to have an infrastructure, it's very costly here, and not much company has it. There are only few company that has composting area where they have this sorting area. So whoever has that, what we do is if we have fun, we go and aware the community as well. So that's one of the project we do. Another one is Zero Waste at School. This has been very good. Next one is we're also trying to work on air pollution. We're trying to see, it's very contextual. We're trying to see, there is a green sticker that's being implemented in Kathmandu. So if your vehicle emits a black smoke, you're not you don't get green sticker and you get fined. But nowadays everyone has green stickers. Like you can see the placards of black smoke and they have green stickers there. So we're trying to find out what happened, very diplomatically. So we're doing that. We're trying to aware drivers that they should regularly service their vehicles. So we have signs all around the places. We speak with a lot of drivers. We're trying to understand some context. The report is being prepared. So everything is related to economy. They don't have enough money to service their vehicle. Then most of the vehicles are trucks that come from India. And you can actually say, okay, India, you can't come here because all our goods come from India. So those are a few challenges and that's over there. But about the mapping, that's our whole project. We think that if you implement that project, at least some of your waste issues will be solved. So basically, it's a tool that we hand over to the government, and as Neelam said, like we want at one point we don't want to be there after 10-15 years. So that's what we're trying to do. Even with zero waste, what we do is this is more of a trainer's manual. So we just hand over this to the teachers after a year and teach them as well, so that they can actually just continue the project, so that we don't have to be there. So this is the Nepal waste map. Basically, it has an app as well, and what you can do through is there's 3 layers of access. There's public, there's private, and there's government. With public, they can actually find out. Number 3. So they can actually see. They can record dumping and burning issues in their neighborhood. They can see which companies are there, So there are 3 companies in that area in ward number 3 in Kathmandu. They can see which routes do these companies take every morning. Also, there's waste infrastructure, and you can actually see what's in your neighborhood. Sorry. Waste collections, waste management. So you can see all, do you security waste, do you compost, it's all, this is very data driven.
And who is this app for? Is this for the general public, or is this
This is for general public, but but again, there is 3 level access. For instance, if it's a waste company, but the waste company will have different access within the dashboard. So every time, let's say, few of the features is, let's say you see are members or not members. So in the city like Kathmandu, the only solution is half of the coin solution is you become a waste company member. So if you're not a member, you probably throw the waste away. And the other half is government make sure that these companies actually manage their waste properly. They just don't throw it out the river. So that has to be monitored by the government. And so that part is done by this app. And with the government part, they can actually monitor everything. So each complaint, they can actually see it in a very, very reporting format. And they can see, okay, this company performance is bad, this company performance is good. They can actually evaluate that, they can plan. Another thing we can do with this app is you can especially record where are the dustbins, where are the recycling centers. You can especially see everything. So government can now actually focus, especially just seeing the place. Okay, here are the dustbin. Over here, there's no dustbin, so let's place dustbin here. I record for me personally, having dustbin may not be the solution. Let's say there's 100 household and only 8 are members are subscribed to the waste company members. The rest of the people will probably throw it away, and if they see dustbin, they'll probably throw it in the dustbin, all the household waste. So at least 90% of the household has to be a member. Then you can actually install dustbin in that residential area. Again, the commercial area is different point. So you can actually evaluate all that thing from this app.
That's great. And so the government has been quite positive in their reaction.
Over here, we have piloted in 3 wards, so let's say 3 councils, and we have in one council the ward is very, very active, and the ward is not active, but the waste company is very active. So in somewhat in Kathmandu it's working, but our goal is actually hand over the whole system to the government of not Nepal, at least the mayor of the Kathmandu, so that it can be implemented in Kathmandu. But with Kathmandu, as I said before, there's no authority figure right now. So we don't know who is responsible for the waste of Kathmandu. That's still under discussion. So once that is fixed, then we can actually hand over it. So right now what we've been doing is we've been pursuing mayor, we've been pursuing the municipality just to let them know we have an app. We knew from some internal source that they were trying to buy something like this from China, and it's not even contextual. We already have it. You don't have to actually whatever money it took to make that is already done. It's already there, and we being NGO will not gonna charge them again. We'll probably charge them for trainings. Very minimum cost is there, so the cost is very minimum. So that's what we've been trying to do right now. Trying to see if the government of, at least of Kathmandu, will buy in this app. We have implemented this project in another city as well. So there it's going very fluently. It's more acceptable. I think in other municipality other than Kathmandu, will probably be able to hand over the project so that at least it's sustainable there. over here it's still a struggle in Kathmandu, in the city over here. So.
Okay. What would you say your biggest struggle as an organisation is?
Funding.
Funding?
Yeah, and on that note too, I was wondering if you were looking where to get your funding from. I mean, do you think because you have so many tourists, maybe there should be an extra tax, say, for tourists coming into the country, or for the private industries that bring the plastic in, or how do you see your funding?
I think by funding wise, having private companies pay taxes like we have right now. What expert is saying is you can actually tax the environment tax to all the people who actually pollute Kathmandu. So that actually we can do that. That's what the expert is saying. So I think same thing over here as well. But right now we need a solution. We don't know where to throw the waste. Minimizing plastic, banning plastic, it's a good idea. But again, this is a developing country. So plastic is required by many people, especially underprivileged, handicapped. Plastic is their daily thing. They to store things, to put their clothes, or handicap those, what do you call it, pipes,
Straws.
You need that straw. So, and it's in different countries, people buy those steel straw and all that. It's more expensive. Only privileged can buy that.
Yeah.
I'm getting cold.
You were saying before that after going to the rubbish dump, you were sick for 3 days. Do you see more health effects of the pollution than just the general population?
There is actually, especially from air pollution. When you do your endoscopic, most of the Nepalese will have this green thing under this, what do you call it?
Trachea?
Trachea, yeah. And that's because of the pollution. And pollution is very bad here. In few years, I think there'll be an epidemic. Especially, they burn waste, they burn plastic, which results in cancer. So it's bound to happen. Sorry. Unless we do something now.
Do you feel like there is enough research that has been done at the moment into this issue?
There is a lot of research. It's not in one place, but in terms of research, there are a lot of organized, a lot of individuals have done research. Unofficially, when Clean Nepal went to government offices, we wanted some data. They said they have the data, but they will not give you the data. So what we did is, okay, we'll go and do our own survey, and we'll try to find the data. So that's what we did. We wanted to know how many waste would come, what's the characteristic of waste. But these are all the data are there actually, when it comes to waste. It's just that the system is not there, and someone to just be responsible for all the waste. That's not in place for Kathmandu now.
And how do you think that tourists and people travelling to Nepal can help with this issue?
I think it's more of in a very small ways. The trending, at least people let local know that eco-friendly is something they prefer. For instance, just create that demand. That would be great. People over here, they don't understand the power of consumer. They just, whatever is out there, they just go and buy it because it's there. But if you revolt, if you say to the noodles company, local noodles company, I don't want this packaging. If you create enough demand, I think that can be changed. We went to the local noodle companies. According to him, there's very less profit, so he can't change the noodle packaging, and it's the worst because those noodle packets goes all everywhere in Nepal. What we tried is we tried to melt that noodles packaging and make it something like this. So we made a dustbin out of packaging like this. I think it's called precious plastic. In other countries, they just melt different plastic and make it into a product. So anything that is not recyclable, we tested this, but again, this is on a very small scale. To make it in a bigger scale, you need that system, and there's there's an issue about air pollution because you're basically melting plastic, so it may not be good for the environment. So we just tested it just to wanted to see can we do it or not. So we found some products that can be melted and converted into a sturdy material, but there are some noodle packaging you can't do anything about it. And we have the data. We'll probably publish that data soon as well.
What do you think are the biggest waste contributors?
Over here?
Yeah, in terms of talking about these noodle packets, are there certain companies or that are contributing a lot of waste?
We did, I think it's plastics, the general grocery plastics. It's everywhere, especially those which are single use that you can't actually one time use and it just tears apart. Those one. There are other companies as well. There are a few local companies. And I guess that's it, those two. I think if we can manage that would be great. But again, the product is there, it's just how we use it. As long as most of the things are sellable here, recyclable, can be reused, as long as we segregate the waste, it shouldn't be a problem. Because once you segregate the waste, you have value to the waste. And there's a lot of people who make a living out of this. You can see those people who's carrying bag, or what do you call it, scavengers?
Oh yeah, I think I've seen some on the streets carrying big bags around. Yeah.
So they make their living out of this. So there's a big population of that, and there are families who depends on this. It's only that if we just segregate our waste, when waste is we mix the waste, the value goes up, and as long as segregated waste, I think it should be good, because if you have your veggies separated, you can compost it. You can, I think, you can create energy out of it, very low energy, and then we have our dry waste, and most of them can be recycled. There are few that can't be recycled. For that, I think we should just tax the, as you said, we should just tax them big amount.
Yeah. Do you have any questions?
No, more that I think it's interesting what you said about privilege. The fact that, I mean, if say your country, I noticed maybe like a quarter of the buildings I've seen are under construction, and that requires a lot of energy and everything to go into it. So it seems like you almost have to pass that hurdle before you can deal with the bulk of the problem.
Yeah, and waste has never been a priority.
Yeah.
Because there are other issues. There's no drinking water. And waste is something that if you throw it somewhere, if it's out of sight, the problem is solved. But when it comes to water, when it comes to everyday living, it's always there. So, but again, people don't understand how big this issue is, especially in an urban setting. It just comes back to you.
Yeah, I'm interested as well. What was her name? Sorry. Neelan. Is that right? Neelan. She studied urban planning, and I guess it's interesting to learn about the urban planning of Kathmandu, and we've just been noticing how there's really not much space for trees and plants. I mean, we saw on the way here that some companies are growing trees with the tree guards around them, which is great, but do you know much about those kind of projects, and do you think they're making a difference?
just going to switch on the mic to take it back. In terms of that, with urban planning, what I understand for these is they have contract. China is supposed to build everything. So what China has said that, okay, you cut the trees, then we'll come and do the planning. So there's no rational over there thought. You don't have to cut the trees, maybe plan first and have a lane, at least you can save some trees. But that rational is not there. We don't understand what's happening. Are they selling the tree, the bark? Is some kind of underground thing going on? It's very irrational thought of just cutting the trees without any planning. And
Wait, so the Chinese
they're supposed to
they're
build that.
wanting to cut the trees down?
Yeah, that's what we heard. That's what we heard. That okay, you first cut the trees, then we'll plan, and the plan is not even set. Since it's the highway, it's pretty much assume that you don't need trees because all you have is highway. But even highway can be redesigned as per context, because I think we are a developing country, which is very good. Because I remember there was this friend of mine in New York, and I was here, and we always talk about, he's Nepali too, but about how New York is nice, how whenever he comes here, it's so bad. But I used to tell him that, let's say New York is your house, and Kathmandu is my house, and your house is built by someone else, and you have to live there, whoever built it the way they wanted. But over here, I can build my house my way. So in that sense, developing country, you learn and you can actually develop in the right way. But right now, it's not being done. So we're a bit frustrated on that part. There's this, Nepal is building an international airport. I don't know if you know about that. It's at Nisgad. It's a big issue. I don't know how many acres of trees are being cut. It's just a big amount of trees. It's just not 200, 300. It's like acres and acres of trees are being cut. And there is a activist group that's been lobbying around. They have filed a case against it.
Quite difficult to say organise a protest or a strike. Like how much power do people have when it comes to protesting against large corporations?
I think it depends on the case. There was this case about land dispute, and this was very ethnic, and these groups are very stronghold of Kathmandu, and when I think the whole city was up, and the government withdrew their policy. With trees, I think it's more of there is financial gain, so it's going to be very tough. It's what issue it is for us. For me, activism, again, most of the activists are someone who has something on to make a living. They're not privileged, but they're very passionate. But if something happens, they have a living, and most people don't have that. Even if they feel about the issue, they can't go out there and just say something.
And also on that note too, do you have any unions in Nepal? Say, because I can imagine that if there were to be a waste management system, a lot of jobs could be created from that. And do you have anyone like a public service union that pushes for more jobs and more infrastructure for waste management?
There's a department. I forgot the name. It may just does a part of that work. I forgot the name. It has an initial. I can if I remember, but it doesn't do all the work. For instance, policy. For instance, what does it do? Department of, I forgot the name though, but it just does part of it. When it comes to job and work, there's very indirect way, there's something called CTVT. So it's a educational program, vocational program. What they try to do is they teach people about carpentry, about haircutting, and all that, and they try to place, at least have jobs for these individuals. But I don't know how effective that is. It's probably not my field, so I don't know much.
I was just wondering if I could ask you more about, more of a personal question about how you feel about this issue, and does it kind of frustrate you on a daily level? Do you feel empowered by the work you're doing, and how do you think that other citizens in Kathmandu feel about the waste?
Yeah. For this, I think there's two kind of individuals here. One who is used to it. We can't say we are aware. Everyone is aware about waste, even about smallest issue about littering. Everyone knows that littering is bad, but in any case they do it. But they just don't understand the impact of it, how it will affect you in the long run. I think that's what they don't understand, but they don't prioritize. In terms of frustration, I do get very frustrated. We kind of live on a good part of a town. Over here, there's not much waste. Area is good. I hate driving to the city, and you just get very frustrated seeing this condition of the city. You do want to live very healthy life. You get one life, and I do get frustrated on this one. But having Clean Nepal does give me a little bit of empowerment, because we have a bunch of individuals who can actually come together and come up with some kind of project, at least to address that. So in that sense, I feel good. When we hire individual, we tell them you're not working, but this is more of a platform for you to bring change. So that's most of our team here is very passionate about these issues. And if we are passionate about any other issue, we have this team member who was vegan, didn't like animal killing. So we had to sponsor a sausage company. So we declined that money because she was not comfortable. Of course, it was not much money, but yeah.
Wow.
So we try to stay value.
That's great.
And that's one of the hardest part, because you tend to bend with the system here.
Yeah.
And this is something that's been installed or instilled by Neelam. She is very, very, when it comes to stuff like even for a small thing like registration, renew, if you pay certain money, it comes to your renew comes to your office, but she wouldn't want it that way, because you are paying someone on the table somewhere. So she would want us to go there and do all the process. I normally, at first registration, I think I cried, because it was so hard. Every time we go in, it was just very hard to renew it. Now you know the process, so it's not that hard. But at first, I just wanted to keep up. But she's very strong-minded, and every decision we make, I try to at least let her know this decision is being made. With funding part, I think it just we do the work anyway. It's just we want a better living for a better pay for our team, and as long as we can pay the rent, we'll be okay. So yeah, that's the only part.
Great. I guess just one. I have a last question.
Yeah.
Do you have one as well?
No, that's good. We should probably.
Yeah.
Let
Sorry.
you go soon.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you mind just one more question?
Sure.
It's just, I guess, about the future of this company and where you see it going, what your goals and ambitions are, and for Nepal in general, and what you wish to see happen.
For this company, we wanted, as I said, a platform where our team can actually learn, can make difference. We want. I'm trying to find every kind of training for our team, so that they can do the job more effectively. some way they want to come and do their work. We don't have this restriction where you have to sit in the office all day. If you feel like you can go out, go in the park. Sometimes you just don't feel like working. So at that point, you just go and meet the stakeholders, meet the community. We're trying to not change. In Nepal, when people stay on the payroll, they always think it's 9-to-5 job. It's project oriented. Like we have 9-month project, and that's what he or she has to do. But we want them to think beyond that. It's not a project. It's something that can change the way you live. It can change the country. It can change the environment, and we don't see it only through the eyes of a project. So that's what we've been trying. We wanted to go in such a way that we're not too big, because once you are too big, you can't handle things. It just becomes UN. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah.
Because I know a little bit of what you know. It just becomes one of UN, and we don't want to be. We want to have that our core, where you can actually know that you are an activist as well, not only an NGO worker. Over here, NGO. When you work with NGO, it's all about big money. You can see a lot of NGO worker, good restaurants and all that. But we don't want to be that. We want to have a good paycheck,
Yeah.
livable, but we want to be on the ground, working with the community, and that part where you are activist, where you have that heart, you still have that heart. So that's what we wanted. I see. Yeah.
Great.
In terms of Nepal, I believe it's a beautiful country, and any country, you just have this basic standard, and I think we should have that. Not only Nepal, any country should have that. So that's what I believe in.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for your time.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
We're trying to convert this. It's in English, but we're trying to convert this into Nepali. So I'll put part of the money here.
Okay. Yeah. That's really good about empowering communities and stuff. I think what you're saying about kind of the grassroots, bottom-up way of doing things sounds really good.
I mean, that's the only way. More than a change, you need community, and you just can't go as an outside organization. Same thing Neelam said in the video.